Hi, my name's Anne Marie Pike, and I am your host for today's Second Act Living podcast, a place where women in the second act of their life can come together to laugh, pray, talk, lament about everything that this stage of life has to throw at you. So please help me welcome my guest today, Allison Harasimowicz. Um, Allison is a wife of 32 years. She is the mother of four beautiful adult children, and she has dreamed of living on a farm for 20 plus years and consequently has lived on said farm for 2 years, 2 plus years. Um, so thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. I'm so excited. So in case you don't know how we know each other, Allison is my sweet older sister, 7 years older, which is crazy because she looks so incredibly younger than me sometimes, I think. Um, and I love her background because we're talking about farm life, and it's a beautiful background that she's chosen. It looks like a farmhouse, so that's awesome. Um, okay, so we are going to jump into rapid fire questions first. Does that
I'm
sound good?
ready.
Okay.
Yep.
When going on a date with your hubby, do you choose romantic candlelit dinner or Netflix and pizza?
Candlelight dinner.
Okay. When going on a trip, do you pack your whole closet or do you travel light?
I try very hard to only bring what I need.
Yeah.
Travel ish.
Yeah. I'm actually doing that right now because we're flying up to New York and we're not checking a bag. So
Oh, then you gotta be so creative. What can
yeah,
you wear 3 days in a row?
it's impossible. Anyway, and we live in Florida. We don't have winter clothes, so I'm not
And
really
you're
sure.
from Jacksonville to upstate New York. That's
I don't know what we're
a
gonna do.
jacket. A jacket
Anyway,
takes a suitcase. Okay.
so where are you finding your joy in midlife?
A couple of places. Seeing my kids become adults has
Mm,
been a real fun thing for us. And where we're at. Like we'll talk about it a lot, but learning. I'm finding a lot of joy in learning.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
What has been your favorite vacation? You've done a
Where
lot.
we have done a lot, but we also have these conversations about like, what's your favorite trip? You know, we do this a lot. We revisit our lives a lot with our kids. And when it was December 2019, all kids are adults, of course. And the show, which some of you who like theater out there, Six, was it was in London and it was at the West End and it was ending. And my daughter Grace had been for a year got familiar with this music, and then so it just became a regular thing in our house. We knew every word to every song and we'd never seen the show. And so she just said she was going to be graduating from high school in a couple months later in May or June of 2020. And she's like, "Do you think we could go to London for Christmas because it's closing in January?" And Mike and I don't know why, we both were like, "Yeah, we can. Let's go."
Like, why not? Of course.
Why not? And then it's one of those like, "Oh my gosh, what did we just do? We just bought tickets for London. What are we doing?" So the six of us went to London for about 5 days at Christmas, saw shows, and they're all adults. So we went out to a club one night and
Oh
we
my
were
goodness.
dancing. It was such a different experience going on this vacation with adult kids in London and going to pubs. And it was my favorite vacation ever. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was super.
So you have some really good pictures in your house of that vacation. I love those pictures.
Yes,
Yeah.
we do because
Yeah.
it was, just like a moment in life that we just treasured. We loved it. Going to tea. We love tea. We
Yeah.
love clubs. We did it all and we had so much fun and just it was great. It was so much they were so much fun. We just loved it all. We
That's
loved it.
awesome.
Yeah.
So what is your bucket list vacation?
Um well, there's a couple places I would like to go, but we Alaska. I'd love to go to
Okay.
Alaska. And I would love to go to like Montana.
Those
And
are
do
good ones.
all the yeah, like the
So I
farm.
can definitely attest to Alaska. It is absolutely worth the trip, and it is exactly what you think it's going to be.
I
Mhm.
I think I would love that. I
Yeah.
would love it. Yeah.
It's amazing. So what is kind of talking about we're talking about today. So what is one new skill or hobby you've always wanted to learn?
I want to be proficient in a second language.
Oh, that's cool.
Mhm.
Oh,
French.
are you French? Okay,
Mm, Yep.
that's neat.
Talk about that later too, because
That's
that,
fun.
yeah,
What is one way you stay connected with your kids?
they're really good about coming home. They're really good
Oh,
about coming home to visit. They love it here. And of course, the group chat, texting,
mhm,
sending photo. Some are better than others as far as photos and stuff. I can
sure.
count on my list. Sends me a photo regularly. Oh, got the new fit. Check it out, mom. Texting. Yeah, of course, my boys, believe it or not, my sons are better than my daughters of calling me. Like Joshua and Samuel call me regularly. They just call me. Just, hey mom. I'm like, oh, what's up? Oh, I just called to say hi. Yeah, like just
Oh my
like,
gosh, I love that so much.
yeah,
Every mother of
surprising.
kids and boys in particular would be like, that's
Yeah.
pretty amazing.
Well, it is, and it's probably a little unusual because you kind of think the daughters are more like kind of have that in there. But I don't know. Maybe it's also age where no, I can't even say that because I think they've always been very good about calling mom.
Even in college?
Even in college. Well, okay. So the one rule we had, two rules we had with college. It had to be drivable because we live in the Northeast and there's so many good schools in the Northeast. I'm not flying you to college. That was
Sure.
a rule. And the other rule was you need to call me once a week. You pick the day, but let's do it. So it was Sunday evening, and all of them kind of picked that Sunday. And Joshua is still tried and true. If he hasn't called me on a Sunday, he's calling me Monday morning.
I love that so much.
Yeah, yeah. So that's yeah, that was a
Is he
thing.
gonna be 27 in May?
Joshua is 27. He's going to be 28 in May. Joshua
Ooh,
Samuel is 25. Yeah,
that's a little mind blowing. Okay.
it really is. It's
Um, what is your go-to stress reliever?
um generally revolves around a cup of tea. Sitting on my porch with a cup of tea.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's a good one. You have a beautiful porch and a beautiful view.
it's a stress reliever for me.
Mm.
And when it's weather okay, I do it every morning whether I need to not have stress or not, whether I'm stressed or out or not.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the best way for me to start the day. And even when I can't be on the porch, just that I get up pretty, early in the morning and I have a cup of tea and Mike and I will do like I like getting up first. I always have. Having my own time,
Mhm.
it's a little TiVo or whatever that's going to look like. And then now we're doing, which has been great. We started in January, Bible in a year. So we every morning we do. He'll come down and we'll both have tea and just have that Bible in a year. And then it's a regrouping. And even the kids aren't even home now, but it's still like a daily like regroup. Okay, what are we doing today? And what's your schedule? And he travels a lot, so a lot of times it's me kind of where are you going this week? And but to have that time in the morning set aside, and even when the kiddos were young, I would always and depending on I'd have to get up really early because I when they were super, like elementary or middle or high, I would get up, I would shower, I'd be fully ready, I would have breakfast on the table, and I would always have my cup of tea, and I'd have time for me. I would just have to get up as early as I needed to get up in order to have that because I never wanted my kids to be rushed out of the house. I think it's
Mm.
not a healthy way for anybody to start their day. So I was motivated, and most often than not, it worked out that way where I would go up, I would wake the kids up, they would come down. I just didn't want them to start the busy day in a crazy way. So,
Sure.
and we never did big breakfast like in the for school. It was always like, you want cereal or frozen waffles, or it was
Whatever.
simple. Yogurt, it was simple, but it was calm, I think, for
And
the most. And
and
somehow,
purposeful.
poor kids, how is it calm? But I think mornings can offer that if you get up early enough because people are still kind of tired and groggy and waking up. So you can start your day slowly. And I think that makes for a healthy way to start the day. That's just Allison philosophy.
I like it. So, what's worse? Hot flashes or forgetting why you walked into a room?
Hot flashes,
Yeah.
easy.
I had one last night.
Explain it to anyone other than other women. Like your husbands, just, maybe they sympathize a little. They don't get it.
They don't get it.
It's impossible to explain.
Mm-mm. And lastly, what is one piece of advice you would give your 20 something self?
Um, Probably chill a little bit.
Mhm.
Probably that, but go to God
Mm.
for everything. That would probably be the two things. Yeah,
Sometimes I feel like that's the last resort for some reason.
go to God
Yeah.
first. Yeah.
Hmm. For sure. So we've had a lot of different guests on this show with a lot of different topics, and some are like really fun and some are kind of hard. This one is definitely on the fun side. I'm really excited about this. So in the bio, I talked about how you and Mike, your husband, have always wanted to live on a farm, and that about 2.5 years ago that happened. So you are currently living on a farm and living the farm life. So what drew you to the idea of buying and living on a farm?
Okay, so funny, super fast answer is Facebook. Um,
That's a funny
long,
answer. I like that.
long answer is 20 years ago. About you had mentioned that. Mike and I, with our all four kids, were like 7 and under, and live in the military life. We were in the Air Force, loved it. Thought a great way to. We lived a lot of places, did a lot of cool experiences, met a lot of cool people. But we would talk regularly about like what's it going to look like, where are we going to retire, because we were always moving.
Mm,
So and we were open to anything, like what's it going to look like. But about 20 years ago we just kind of came up with the big thing called, like, this was the dream: G&G boot camp, grandma and grandpa boot camp. And so what we wanted was, okay, what would G&G boot camp look like? We wanted a place that kids, grandkids could come and kind of leave their busy life, whatever that looks like. They can go fishing with grandpa, they can bake with grandma, they can go for walks in the woods. Like, we just had this ideal what we could look like as a grandma and a grandpa. And but then kind of life happens, and we're moving places, and it probably became a little more unreachable. And that was even okay, because it would still be fun to talk about. Like,
sure.
it was like, well, we're probably not really going to do that, but whatever. So we were open to anything. And so then in November of 2020, Mike was on Facebook, just looking through Facebook, and a friend of his from kindergarten was posting that she was about to put her 100-acre horse farm on the market. And so she was just sending it out to friends and family, just here it goes if you know anybody. And Mike goes, Al, come take a look, Patty's about to put her farm on the market. And I go, Mike, I do not want to retire in Buffalo, New York. Like, what? No, I love Buffalo. We've come home to Buffalo every year for Christmas, and all of Mike's family lives here. Love it, but never in a gazillion did I think that I would want to retire here. So he's like, okay, 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 just take a look at it. Just take a look at it. And I'm like, all right, fine. So they did this like drone video. The realtor had put this beautiful drone video together, and I promise you, it took me 5 seconds to
Really?
look. 5 seconds. I looked at it and I go, that's G&G boot camp. And he's like, yeah, it is. And so I go, okay, text her and see if we can come take a look. So he's like, all right. So within 2 weeks, we drove up here, and I don't even think it was officially on the market yet. We came and met Patty, and she couldn't even believe, because they were friends since kindergarten. And she's like,
Yeah.
I literally cannot believe you, Mike, are here looking at my house. Like, she just couldn't even believe it. Either could we, actually. And so it was immediate. That was a Saturday. We told her we had some complicated things, because we were not going to be able to move for a year and a half, because our youngest was, we wanted her to finish high school where we were.
Mm.
Kind of talked through that, and we put an offer in on Monday. They accepted it on Tuesday, signed the papers in February of 21, and then had to get some, kind of subletters for a while, which wasn't optimal, but it worked out just fine.
Sure.
And we moved in July 2022.
Wow.
It was awesome. It is awesome. I'm still amazed every day. Like, every day, I promise you, I drive into my driveway, and I swear for the first year, year and a half, we were like, oh my gosh, we live here. This is like, we live here. Like, we couldn't even believe it. Like, still, honestly, sometimes like I just decorated the front and I look at it like, I live here.
And I think I've said this to you before, and even like when I go up there, and then when you send like really pretty pictures, it's not to sound like silly, but like it's like you live in a Hallmark movie. like,
I know.
like truly, like it's like a perfect idyllic kind of farm scene.
Are so overwhelmed. Like, so overwhelmed by it. We're just so grateful to be here. Just so grateful to be here and grateful to share it. Anytime we've had a lot of friends and family and guests and stuff come and um we're so hyped every time somebody comes because we love it and we love to share it. And we know that it wasn't just for us that and it's not just for the G&G boot camp. It is literally meant for people to come and just, you know, chill, take a respite. It's a beautiful place. We love it.
So you really didn't have, because of how it all worked out, thank you, Jesus. Um, you really didn't have to make the decision of like, are we ready? Are we ready to do it? Right. It just kind of happened. But
Yeah.
so this is a huge transition for you and Mike, for the family. Like it's enormous. So how is that how has that transition been? Like, has it
Uh, for the most part, great. There's a lot of things that we've had to learn. The initial transition was a little tricky for the sense of picking up our youngest daughter, leaving where we live, downstate New York, completely couldn't have been more opposite of where we used to live to where we live now. And, she had all of her friends there. She was going to college. And so she didn't have any of that was the hardest part, I think, of transition was doing the best we could to make her feel remembered and I don't know, just trying to make her somehow like it here. you know, it's different. It's different than what she had her entire high school. We were totally blessed. She was totally blessed. Her and her sister got to have her brothers didn't, but stayed in the same high school for all 4 years. So she got very much into the downstate New York, Westchester
yeah.
County lifestyle.
New York
Uh,
City, going to New York City, like
Regularly, like
yeah,
course, and it just was a 180 from where we are here, and so that was a little hard, and I felt bad for her, just trying to make her what can I do to for her to grow to love it here,
yeah.
and lo and behold, she does now. It took a little bit of time, and it was probably obviously a good thing that she went away to college, so that she. But
Mm,
but still, it was hard. Like first Thanksgiving, she's coming home to East Otto, New York. Could it be more rural as opposed to going back to Westchester and seeing all of her friends, and they have a reunion and they go out, and um, so that was probably the hardest part of transition. Other than that, for Mike and me, it's been a lot of hard work that I
mm,
love. It's been a lot of physical hard work. It's been a lot of learning and but it's never been like a dread. I've
sure.
loved every stage of everything new that we've been learning. I love it. I love it. I can't believe how I was meant to be here after all the different places we lived and all the different stages we were in with kids and Air Force and all that kind of stuff. We were meant to end up here 100%. Yeah.
That's amazing. So I would imagine, I'm assuming here, that buying a farm, you're gonna have to learn a whole lot of new skills.
Yes, ma'am.
A lot of
Yes.
learning happening. Um, so what are some new skills that excite you the most? Like the new learning, what kind of jazzes you?
Yeah. Learning how to use a chainsaw.
You're
It's
saying that.
it's weird how much I enjoy it. I love wearing Carhartt jackets and I love wearing Timberland boots and I love going out in the woods, Mike and me on our four wheelers and figuring out what trees we're going to cut down or cut up. And I love it. It is energizing for me. It's hard work. We're exhausted. I have never been so beat up physically in my whole life. There'd be times like scratches, bleeding. Like I am just sometimes I'm out there. I'm a wreck, and I come back and I love it. Um, Another thing that has been a major learning curve is we live on a horse farm. We don't have horses. We don't have any animals yet. We're still Mike's traveling a lot, so but that's coming. But so this was a difficult thing for the Mike from the beginning said I want horses. And that's nice. We have a beautiful place for it, but neither one of us have a clue on how to do anything about horses. So uh, I just for the longest time, for like 2 years almost, it was we would have this conversation, and I would be kind of negative, and he'd be like, "We're getting horses. We're getting horses." So maybe in May this past year, I decided, okay, I'm going to honor my husband's desire. And if this is really a reality and we are going to get horses, one of us needs to know how to do horses. so, so I went across the street, talked to my neighbor who's got 6 horses now, and said they have a barn manager, they call her Tori, young like mid 20s year old adorable girl, who takes care of all the horses and everything. And I'm like, do you think it would be okay if I came like once a week and just kind of helped Tori in the barn? And I don't want to get in the way, and I don't want to be annoying. I don't want to make it difficult. She's like, yeah, if it's good with Tori, it's good with me. Well, it's been great. So now I go once a week. Generally, it's Monday mornings. I get up and I'm in the barn at 8. Spend a couple hours there. Cleaning, mucking the stalls, doing feeding the horses, leading them out to if they're going out to their pasture, or leading them back in, or I'm cleaning them, like I'm doing all of these things I never in a million years thought I would do. And so, a lot of times the things that are the most, exciting are generally started out the hardest because you
Sure.
have just had such a major learning curve. So I got to say that's probably almost it, because I'll be honest, one of my big reservations of horses was I was kind of afraid of them. And I'm probably
I mean,
not over that. Like, they're big and they're animals, and I'm this 56-year-old woman trying to figure out how to do that.
and
Um,
I mean, they can be dangerous. I mean, they aren't animals, right?
so so probably the biggest jazz of it all for me is now walking into the barn, our friend's horse barn, and she'll say, "Oh, Allison, can you feed them? Can you do them?" Yes, yes, I can. And like I can go do it by myself, and I know how to do it, and I'm not afraid. And um I'm still very cautious. I'm still very like, oh my gosh, I don't want to get anywhere near behind the horse. Like I'm very cautious.
Yeah, but I think that's wisdom.
Yeah, yeah. But that's probably the biggest thing, is me walking to in a horse barn and having some kind of clue. Um, still I have a million things to learn, and to really
Sure.
feel like to have one on, that I'm the sole caregiver for. But I love that. I really never thought that that would be our life, but it's cool, and
That's neat.
it's been major, and I love it. And it's also really awesome, and I feel like as I was kind of thinking about these things we were going to talk about, that how good God is in all things, that your spouse can want something that
Mm.
you really don't, and it can be, honestly cause some strife between every time the conversation comes up. And then when you decide, you know what, he really wants it, and I am going to do something tangible to support it,
Mm.
and really do my best to support that and honor him, at least making it look like it's possible. And so when you really make an effort to tangibly support your spouse on something that maybe you didn't want to do, but that I feel like the Lord can really bless you in that, and that can become a desire of your heart too. After you just decide, I'm gonna invest, whether it's time or money or efforts or whatever it is. When you really invest in something, that it can become a desire of your own heart too. And I
It's
think that's
beautiful.
been really cool, because I feel like, oh my gosh, wouldn't this place look great with 2 horses on this? Wouldn't it? What? It would.
It would
So,
definitely fit. It would fit the vibe, faux show.
oh no. Yeah, no, it would be a beautiful thing. And just the idea of, hopefully one day we get in our daughters and sons-in-laws, and then we get grandkids. Just grandpa taking the little one out, little walk. Maybe I romanticized it a tad. Um, but still, that idea that it's even remotely a possibility
Sure.
is amazing to me.
That you're
So
taking steps to see if this is even doable.
yes,
That's huge.
exactly.
Yeah, that's huge.
Amazing.
Huge.
Amazing. And I'm really grateful
Because
for
you had to get over. a lot of things. And it's a continuum. It's not like I'm arrived, like,
It's not like, okay, they're here, now we're done.
right,
It's,
like,
I
yeah.
gotta take care of this till the day this horse dies.
Right.
So, and we're talking like whether it's nice outside or not, I gotta get up in the morning and go muck the stalls and feed the horses and take them. Like, that's a lot. It's a
It
major
is.
investment
Yeah,
in
it is.
everything. So, but the fact that I'm excited about it is God giving me a 180. That's totally all God.
Yeah, that's super gracious, super
Yeah,
gracious.
totally.
So what are some things that have been the most challenging? I guess maybe it's the same. I don't know.
Same. It
Yeah.
was mostly, I would say, yes, that. There's been a lot of physical challenges, like wanting to take back the gardens that we have here. I mean, they were literally fields. They were beautifully had these beautiful rocks all over them, but the inside were fields of so. And I'm not really a gardener. Like I did a couple things here and there. So that's been a major challenge. Um, but I look at it now and how beautiful they looked this year. I mean, there's still a ton of work and it's constant. It's That's another thing. It's not like once you
Constant.
tame it, you're
Yeah,
done. It's like,
constant.
oh my gosh, it's just constant if you want it to be what you want. So gardening has been a really big challenge, just because I never did it and I'm learning, you know, everything. So
Yeah, I mean, so that has been my 2024 goal is to garden and to master sourdough, right? So
yeah, I missed it.
okay, sourdough. I made a sourdough this morning, but the gardening, it's like you think you got it. And like so my second harvest right now is like falling flat, like nothing's growing. Like
Well, it's crazy that you even have a harvest as I'm watching snow fall.
well, like, there's like butternut squash, broccoli, lettuce, like all that kind of stuff's out there. And like my herbs still look good, but like nothing's working. And I actually had I don't know what I did wrong. So it's just kind of like
Isn't it?
learning as you go. It's frustrating. And then you think, if I had to grow food to survive,
Like one bad hailstorm and the entire crop is done.
anyway, so
Doesn't it
yeah.
give you some appreciation though? Doesn't it give
Oh
you
my goodness.
it
And
doesn't
there's
come out. Go
and I
ahead.
think we talked about this before. There's something incredibly attractive about the capability of it, right?
Oh,
So
the minuteness of getting a little more self-sustaining.
yeah, yeah,
Like just being able to do
yeah.
that, not being solely I dependent on, obviously I don't grow enough or do enough to support the family, whatever. But just like the simple things of me, this was a huge win, and it's so minute, but it's not for the sense of when you start at zero, anything is 100%, right? Um, so I grew some lavender and started growing lavender. And at the end of the harvest, and I learned I cut everything down too late, and I don't know if it's going to come back next year, but whatever, we'll find out. That's a learning experience. I cut it when I harvested it all. I thought, it was beautiful. I cut it and I hung the flowers and let it
Yeah,
dry. And it looked so cute in their little bunches. But I'm like, what am I going to do with all the excess? So I like Mike is a big mixologist. He likes to make fancy drinks. I thought, you know what? I'm going to try to make some lavender simple syrup and see how that goes.
fun.
It came out great. It's so good. And he uses it for like any kind of like whatever special drink he wants to make. But yeah, like the simplest thing of I planted a plant, I've got pretty little flowers that smell good, and I have simple syrup from it. That was awesome.
Yeah, and you can make them like little pouches and help you sleep at night and all the things.
Yeah.
I think it all
So
kind of fun.
yep.
Um, so we've talked about this before too, about like self-care in midlife and that kind of thing. So and also like takeaways. So what are some things that you have discovered about yourself in midlife and through this new journey?
Not afraid to do hard physical work. I
Hmm.
like it. Yeah. Um I can actually go to due to your takeaways because I was thinking about that a lot. And I think one of my major takeaways for women in my age of life and older and younger, never stop learning. like
Mm,
whatever that's going to look like, because we can think we've poured everything, and never give up on yourself.
mm.
And it can be either like physically or mentally, like just don't give up on yourself. Too many women my age, our age, they just kind of forget that they're, and not that, I don't even know how to word it other than like, every day you still have something to give, and
Mm,
you still have something to learn, which I
yeah.
think is really important, because a lot of times people, we get kind of lazy and we're like, oh, retirement. And sometimes we'll have friends here be like, I would never want this for retirement. Oh my gosh, all I want to do is go retire in Florida and have a condo and not have to yard worker. And that's fine, because a lot of people love that, and that's great. But for me, I feel like this is what motivates me, that never stop learning and never think like, and go outside the box. I was talking about earlier of, I want to be proficient in French. I don't have any idea why. I don't live in France, or maybe I'll visit it, but it's just one of those, like, I like every day Duolingo. It's become a big friend of mine,
Yeah.
and every day I'm like, I want to learn more French. I want to get better at a second language. I want to learn. I want to learn gardening. I want to learn animal care. I think we get older and we think, we're kind of done. Let's just be relaxed, and relaxed is good, but let's not. I think, don't get lazy is such a strong word. Um,
I,
but I
I
think
think
it's really
I think
important.
it's the comfort. I think it's comfortable. Like
I think you don't get too comfortable.
I don't necessarily think comfort is a good thing in some things, right?
People might think you're crazy saying that, but I
Yeah.
think comfortability is one step to laziness. I think it's just, don't settle for comfortable. Challenge yourself, and I think that just is a motivator, and I think it keeps us young. I honestly
A
do.
100%. There's actually studies based on longevity of always be learning for sure. And so and in that it's like steps, right? Especially talking about you specifically, you're always learning, and in that it's very physical, and in that you're building muscle, and muscle is like the fountain of youth. So the more you are moving, the more you are using your muscles physically, you're learning mentally, but you're also like using your body. It's all longevity. So I
And
I mean,
at the end of the day, we feel better about ourselves.
100%. And
And
so
then we
and
sleep better, because then sleeping becomes such a challenge.
for
You
sure.
you sleep better.
For
And
sure.
I think um, time management is a huge thing, because you talk about like, what's our great. I've said for years and years, our greatest natural resource is our time, and
Mhm.
we are the biggest time wasters. And I think when you start challenging yourself and you start learning, and you say, you time manage better. And I think that all of that, it's just all encompassing. You feel better, you sleep better, you probably look better. It's learning. I think that's the thing, is never stop learning, because it puts you on all the other avenues of healthy living.
Yeah, because I feel, and I think I've said this before, I feel like women in the second act of their life, midlife women have so much to offer. And I
Yeah,
think we have so much wisdom. I just think we have a lot to offer, and I don't always feel like we're utilized. And
agreed.
then sometimes I feel like we are like, okay, well, we're put on the shelf. Maybe we don't have anything to offer. So we listen to that or whatever. Um, but it's just garbage. Like,
Totally. We have so much. Let's face it, we are smarter and wiser. Like, don't knock ourselves down.
fine. Thinking about what you were at 20 and what you are now, give me a break. Like,
I think women need to be graceful too to themselves. Of, let yourself age. We age. We're getting older. Like,
yeah,
just let yourself age gracefully. But then take those steps of healthy living, and that doesn't mean like working out 100 times a week, or
yeah.
eating whatever. It's an all encompassing lifestyle, and
You,
sleep is majorly important.
I mean, you can properly take care of yourself and allow yourself to age gracefully. Like, it can be
Yeah,
at the same time, right?
agreed. Agreed.
Yeah. Um, well, I think you kind of already answered the next one. My next question was, what are some ways that you have given yourself permission or embraced self-care?
I think it's yeah, I think I have. I think it's just one of those, keep learning, make sure you sleep.
Yeah,
Get up
sleep.
in the morning. I think I honestly, for me, it's a personal thing. Getting up early in the morning and having some real quiet, reflective time, cup of tea. I keep saying it, but I'm a big tea drinker, obviously, because nothing really is good as a cup of tea. But I think give yourself time. I think get yourself up, sleep well, get up in the morning, and give yourself time to let the day start.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, my last question, what are some pieces of wisdom or advice you would give other women in this season of transition or change?
Yeah, well, I think we probably talked a good about that of
Yeah.
the never stop learning, let yourself age, be great, give yourself grace, like let yourself age naturally, but still live a healthy lifestyle, whatever that looks like for you. And really, you know what? Enjoy, like look forward to this second act living and enjoy it. Like this is the time where you have that, we talked about that added wisdom, let's hope you've had the experiences, if you have kids or you don't have kids, but you still you probably mentor, been a part of somebody's
Yes.
life. This is time to enjoy it. Many of us probably have a little more resources than we did at 20. Like enjoy it. Like, Mike and I really enjoy this time, and we do get to travel because he works a lot of different places, but I would say look forward to this. Don't look for it for dread.
Mhm.
It's a beautiful time of life, and I love it. I am very grateful to be in my second act of living.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Well, Allie, thank you so much for being willing to do this. I
you're very
really appreciate it. You were great. This is such a great topic and something so different than we've talked about. So I really appreciate it.
my pleasure. Totally my pleasure.
I'll see you soon. I'll see you next week.
Sounds great.
Bye.